Okay, so the moment of truth has arrived, and it's that time of the day when I check in here on YouTube regarding the progress, the status of my diet and exercise goals versus actions and projections. And yesterday I went to something called the Old Threshers Reunion, which is held in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Mount Pleasant, Iowa being the home of the Bluebird school bus, which I don't think they even make them anymore, but when I was a kid in Pennsylvania, our little yellow, big yellow school bus, actually, I was a walker. I would walk along the road and I would see the school bus, and on the back of it, it had that stainless steel insignia, and it would say Bluebird, Mount Pleasant, Iowa. And little did I know that one day I would be trudging around a fairgrounds in that same city, and with my dearest Gary, and we would be looking at farm equipment and enjoying a carnival atmosphere. It's really one of Gary's favorite things, and because it's one of Gary's favorite things, it's become one of my favorite things. And he had told me that they had handmade potato chips there, and he was very excited about it, very enthusiastic about this, and he was kind of getting me excited about the possibility of tucking into a bag of homemade potato chips, which I've actually never had. And so I didn't actually eat before I went to this event. And just even when I got to the fairgrounds, I was really kind of very hungry, and encouraging him to lead me to these potato chips. But as it turned out, they didn't actually exist, that it was, he kept saying potato chips or French fries. And so it was French fries and homemade. Well, they were pretty standard, commercial fried to order French fries, which are better than McDonald's or some frozen mess. But anyway, so that was not the first thing we had. I forget. First thing I had was a bag of potato chips because we couldn't locate the French fries, or maybe even we could locate them. I was still looking for the potato chips. You see, this goes to show how food oriented I am. I get to a fair and I'm, looking for those homemade potato chips. But as the day wore on, one of the themes of this, for Gary especially, is, the different food pavilions. There's the pork pavilion, and kept getting pork sandwiches, and, I'm a vegetarian, so that wasn't for me. But um, at some point, I kind of got it in my mind that I wanted to make this a real, just total indulgent day, that I was going to become a carny girl. Now, I didn't go as far as I might have, because they did have funnel cake there, and I certainly didn't get funnel cake. That's like, once you get funnel cake, you're kind of lost to, you just lost. But, and it certainly did look good. I saw somebody get a nice greasy plate with that powdered sugar on it. Oh my goodness. When I was at the beach, I saw a seagull just nip a funnel cake right out of a lady's plate. Powdered sugar everywhere. So even seagulls and appreciate funnel cake, although the seagulls seem to appreciate everything, like me. Um, so, um, um, s- um, 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 um. So yesterday, I just ate terribly, and I did get up in the morning. And I got on the scale, and hope against hope, I thought, well, maybe even though I did indulge, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't terrible what I had, and we were doing a lot of walking around this fairground. I thought, well, maybe it wasn't too bad. Well, I was 130 plus. I might even been 131 plus. And so, it had done its trick. And the reality is that this is just, the results of not being in kind of a what I would consider to be a good place in terms of my food for a long time since I went on vacation. And I can remember when it started. It was when I was down at the shore with this friend of mine who had told me that I looked too skinny. And then we met at Starbucks the next day, and she treated me, which I actually ended up paying for because her little credit didn't work for her coupons, and I had some that she recommended some like, oh, have the double frappa blappa with, basically kind of like, liquid ice cream. It was summer, it was cold. It was good, but I remember when I was eating it thinking, I don't ever eat stuff like this. This is like way too like kind of genetically and scientifically engineered to ring every taste bud bell that I have. And I just remember thinking, this is like not cool. But it was the beginning of a lot of indulgence, kind of above and beyond where I'd been. And so maybe yesterday's homemade French fries and, not being on any kind of a diet was, just emblematic, the whole thing, just part of that whole process. Now, today is Sunday. It is September 1st. And my plan is for tomorrow to go on the first day of a 10-day juice fast and nip this in the bud. In terms of like self-control, I have some, but in terms of real results, the juicing is what really, it's that emergency brake, when you've lost control of your car, of your vehicle, and you really want to just pull up on the emergency brake. And so tomorrow I will begin. I'll make up a chart. I'll make up some cards. I make these little cards up for each day because each day is important. Each day is difficult in a sense, but the rewards are profound. And by the time I would get through of this 10-day juice fast, my entire physiology, everything has changed. And when you finish a juice fast, a 10-day juice fast, just to have food, period, something to chew, is like the equivalent of homemade potato chips. It's all relative. And so it does reset everything. And one thing I do want to report is that I have changed in the past since I've been back from vacation is drinking the 48 ounces of water in the morning first thing. I have been doing that pretty consistently. I didn't do it yesterday. I don't think. Maybe I did. But I had skipped a couple of days recently because of kind of getting up and being in a rush. But the idea that I'm actually drinking water. Oh yeah, and I had a couple cups of coffee yesterday, and I had stopped drinking coffee, and I had the coffee thinking, I'm going to have this coffee to keep myself kind of up, till we get home. And it did its trick. And then this morning I went back to the water and green tea. And for me, it doesn't actually increase the amount of water in my system, apparently, according to my scale. I guess what it's really just doing is flushing my system and cleansing my system. It gives the system, an agent to sort of, do what water needs to do and keep everything fresh. So tomorrow's I'm going to start the juice day. I am doing the water now. That's an improvement in terms of a habit. And I was listening to a Rich Roll podcast about changing habits with this fellow who'd written a book on it. And I was really taken with the different processes that I'm employing to change habits that I have and his findings in terms of his research and his recommendations. And one of them is kind of an accountability thing, which I'm doing with these YouTube videos. It's like your diet and your appetite is like a horse, and you're the rider, and by staying accountable every day and really keeping track, you're like staying on the horse. You're keeping, the horse in check. Whereas just letting the horse run is what not being accountable and not paying attention is. So I'm going to keep with this, and I'm really glad that had the wherewithal and the presence of mind to actually continue to check in. I will start, getting prepared with the calendar and the cards for the juice fast. The actual fasting, I've done it so many times, it's not, there's not a whole lot of preparation that needs to be done, just follow through. And I will continue to exercise during that time. And I'm really looking forward to great rewards. It's like I was having my breakfast this morning, which was sauteed in broth, no fat, vegetables. It was just so delicious with tofu. And I was thinking while I was eating it, after tomorrow, you're not going to be able to have any of this scrumptious stuff. And somewhere the brain remembers this, and that part of it is difficult. The juicing, really you're fine, but just that memory, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have just a taste of that delicious tofu and vegetables, how scrumptious that was. And I'm right, it is, it's very delicious. But I can't be trusted with just a little because I do cheat. Like last night I had, after I got home, that's right, I know what went really wrong last night. Now it's all coming back to me. I made pasta with pesto, and then I had little Ghirardelli chocolate chips. I went over the edge. I'm wondering, yeah, that's all coming back to me because what I ate at the fair, I did have a chance to not gain any weight, but that pesto, pasta, and I had half of a vegetarian sausage, Ghirardelli chocolate chips. That's what really, took me over the edge. So I'm obviously out of control. And the juicing, hopefully will send me back in the opposite direction to the one that I'm headed, which is the direction I want to go. Because also when he talks about goals, he talked about daring to have outrageous goals, sort of outlandishly positive goals, and to not be limited by, what everybody else is doing or what you've done before. And for me to really get myself in shape, really in shape, it's a base goal because when you wake up, you're always in your body, and it's such an important element of everything for me personally, and I think for many people. So that's it for today, and we'll see how Carolyn does on this juice fast, the next 10 days, and we'll find out what happens to our heroine here. Bye.